What's going on, y'all? Joseph Morrison, aka Kojo Locs, coming to you live with another video. This is a Loc channel where we talk about Loc content. So if that's something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button for this video, and please feel free to share with some of your friends. Now, I really want to get right down into the nitty-gritty today. So please, class, come on in, have a seat. Take your seats, please. Silence, quiet down, Because today, we're going to be talking about oiling and moisturizing your scalp and hair. Now, very, very important. We all know how important it is. And I'll just say this. You have starter locks, right? Oh, you don't? You're thinking about getting starter locks? Cool. Well, either one's applicable here, because what we're going to talk about is something that you're probably thinking a lot about. You know, you have starter locks, you're getting starter locks, you're thinking about it, and you're wondering, what oil should I use? You've probably done your research a little bit, and you see all the different options and opinions and things you can do, and I can try this one with that mixture and this type, and there's a lot of things out there, and there's a lot of information out there. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's kind of just up to you to decide which route you're going to go through in order to maintain moisture in your scalp and in your hair. But I'm hoping that today, after this video, you'll have a little bit more insight into that. And I kind of want to make this video pretty informational, so definitely get a pen, get a notepad. You might need it because we're going to be breaking some things down today. The first thing that we're going to discuss is pretty much why you would moisturize your scalp. Why is it important? How does it help? How does it work? Then going from there, we'll just briefly look at how often you should oil your scalp and discuss, I guess, the timelines in that regard. Next, we're going to get into the part where the notepad and pen might be needed. We're pretty much going to be talking about what oils you need. So this is where I'm going to be breaking down the sealants, I'm going to be breaking down the essential oils, and giving you a little bit more insight into what they do specifically. So that being said, I will be talking about sealants, I will be talking about the essential side of things, and you're probably already wondering what the difference is there, and we'll break it down. And then we'll just finish off with an overall wrap-up of how this all works, right? So stay tuned. Let's jump right into it, shall we? So, for those of you that know a thing or two, you know that we do produce our own natural oils, right? So then it makes you wonder, what would be the point of using essential oils? So just to break that down really briefly, the body does produce its own oil, or sebum as it's called. So pretty much what sebum is an oily substance that's made by the sebaceous gland in the body. So it's pretty much just a mixture of fat molecules called lipids. And it pretty much just helps to protect the skin and protect the scalp in this case. Hence our body does produce these natural oils, right? And that's great. So we know that we already have a self-providing base layer of moisture, but is that enough? Now we know that there are certain circumstances where people have itching in the scalp or excessive dandruff, and we also want to make sure, because we're not maybe washing our hair as much, we want to still make sure that we're putting things into the scalp that's going to help to cleanse the scalp, clean the scalp, and us ultimately just do things that maybe our natural oils aren't giving us enough of. Hence why we'll go in with other oils like essential oils and sealants to just add a little bit more help to your body's natural oil that it's producing to have healthy and natural locks. So an essential oil simply is a compound that is broken down from plants, right? So it's just essentially the nutrients or the broken down version of the plant that you got it from. Like lavender or peppermint, for example, right? Like it's essentially just breaking down the compounds of that plant, and you're extracting the richest, most nutrient dense parts of that plant and using it in whatever form you want, whether it be in your food, in your hair, whatever the case may be. So essentially that is what an essential oil is. It is a very concentrated oil, so it's not something you'd want to apply to your hair directly without having a sealant. So a sealant pretty much is just similar to an essential oil, but just not as concentrated, and it is just extracts from vegetables. So I always recommend going with vegetable oils, right? So coconut oil, olive oil, things like that. It's just a more natural product that you'd want in your hair, and essentially you want to go with products that are all natural. You don't want to be putting things in your body that are super processed or just these man-made concoctions that are not natural things that you can get from the ground, from the plants, from vegetables, things like that. So essentially that vegetable oil or that sealant, because it's not as concentrated, we can use that to seal in the moisture that we do apply to our hair. Right? So those are the importance of your essential oils and your sealants and how they work together. Alright, so let's dive a little bit deeper into looking at essential oils and our sealants and discussing specific properties of them and how they work well together. And in order for us to do that, I'm going to need to get the bag. For those of you that have been following my channel, you know what that means, but let's bring it on out, shall we? Boom. And the bag has arrived. Now, in order for us to get to the goods, let's look inside the bag, shall we? Bada boom, bada bing. So here we are. We have an assortment of essential oils and sealants, and let's talk a little bit more about the specifics of them. All right, so we'll start out with the sealants, and these are the ones, again, that we're gonna go in to help to seal in the moisture that we've applied. Now, when I say moisture, before you use any of these oils, right, you wanna moisturize your hair. Now, we can do that with water, just, you know, regular water. I would recommend getting a filtered water, you know, depending on where you live or what kind of water supply that you have coming to your house or in your shower or whatever. You know, you might want to look at, like, obviously if you're going to be washing your hair once every 2 weeks or once a month, it's not that big of a deal to just use whatever shower head you have and whatever kind of water you have. But for your moisturization routine, which you are doing every few days, you'd probably want to definitely get water that is filtered, that is clean, that is without any toxins or extra metals and things like that that are going to be damaging to your hair. So you can use water like that to moisturize, or you can use rose water. And I'll just show you a picture of the rose water that I use up here. So you first spritz your hair up, right? You're going to be moisturizing your hair with that. Then following that moisturization, now that our hair is nice and moist, we want to retain that moisture, and the way that we retain the moisture is by sealing it in with our oils. If you don't know, I'm going to break this down for you a little bit further. Water and oil don't mix, right? You can even test this out yourself. Get a bucket of water, drop some oil in it, and you're going to see them try to separate from one another. So that's how this works. By moisturizing, you put the moisturization on first, so the water or our rose water, and then when you put your oils on top after, it helps to push that moisture into the scalp, because the water or the moisture is trying to get away from your oils. And because we have healthy natural oils that we're using, it's still going to be giving us positive reinforcing properties to our hair, right? Like anti-dandruff, helps to strengthen our shaft of our hair, helps to give our hair good shine, helps growth, helps to mitigate buildup, right? So that's kind of how the whole moisturization and oiling process works. And again, let's dive a little bit deeper into these guys and talk about what they're all about. So let's look at our sealants first. Now I want to go from looking at your lighter oils to your medium level oils to your thicker oils. Now, the reason why you want to think about using lighter, medium, or thicker level oils are for various amounts of reasons. I always recommend, if you are a starter locker and you've just kind of started your process, like I'm 6 months in and I'm still using lighter oils, because you don't want to use thicker oils that, especially if you're oiling your hair once every couple days, it can cause buildup if you're using it too often. So I always recommend to starter lockers, start with lighter oils just to kind of prevent buildup. But if you're somebody who, let's say you're oiling your hair once a week or twice a week, then you can kind of go with a thicker oil just to help to obviously seal in moisture. It's going to retain that moisture for a little bit longer because the oil is thicker and you're not putting it in your hair as much. So there's less chance that you're actually going to have buildup. So going through our list, I'll just kind of let you know what they are for now. Now, I will say this, I'm not a professional. I'm not a Mr. Know-It-All. I'm only giving you information based on things that I've experienced and based on things that I've researched. And I'll kind of clarify what things are what as we go along. So looking into our lighter sealants, we're looking at jojoba oil, in my opinion, and grapeseed oil. These are two oils that I've used. I used grapeseed oil for the first 4 months of my process, and I've just recently switched over to jojoba. But looking at grapeseed oil is great because it's really, really light, as I mentioned. It's good for strengthening the hair, it's good for growth, and it's good for shine, amongst other factors as well. Since having used it for 4 months, I liked it. It was very light. It didn't cause any buildup whatsoever. It didn't smell over time. It actually kind of had a nice light smell to it, and I really, really liked using it. The next one that I would recommend also is jojoba oil. Now, jojoba oil I'm using currently, and I love it. Actually, a little bit more than the grapeseed oil because it is a little bit lighter than grapeseed oil is. But interesting fact, jojoba oil is the closest oil to the natural sebum of our hair, right? So it's just something that the body's really going to respond well to. It's something that the body kind of already knows. And jojoba oil is really, really good for obviously moisturization. It's really, really good for dealing with inflammation. So this can be something like itching, right? If you have any inflammation in your scalp, it's a really great source of vitamin E. It's also good for hair growth and shine. So having tried those two out, I love both of them. They're both great, but I would definitely recommend them. Next, let's go and look into some of the medium oils. So medium oils meaning they're a little bit thicker than the lighter ones, but they're still great oils to use. And depending on how often you use them and just what your preference is, can determine which one you go with. So the first one I would discuss is olive oil. So this is actually olive oil right here. Now olive oil is really, really good for, it's a very good antibacterial, antifungal. It also helps scalp eczema, which is a really, really big one. If you are somebody that suffers from scalp eczema, it really, really helps that. It's great for hair growth, it's great for dandruff buildup, and it's great for itching. So olive oil is a really, really good one to use as well. The next one we're gonna say is avocado oil. Avocado oil is a great source of vitamin E. It's great for hair growth. It's a great healing oil, so it just kind of helps to cool and heal any issues that can arise with the scalp. It's really, really good for boosting collagen. Collagen obviously is something that's very important to hair growth and just the sustenance and strength of the hair. And it just helps to mitigate hair loss. So avocado oil is just a really great oil or a great option as well. And the good thing about these oils is you can kind of go down the list of looking into what properties these oils will have for you, and then just based on your personal issues, you can pick the one that you think is best for your journey, at least to start. And I always say to try these oils out for a couple weeks before you dismiss it, right? You don't want to try it once or twice and go, oh, this sucks. You got to give it a little bit more of a chance than that to really see how it's affecting your locks and how it makes your hair feel and your scalp feel. And the last section we'll get into thicker oils. So these are oils that are a little bit more viscous, a lot thicker. I wouldn't recommend personally using these oils as your like everyday or every other day moisturizer. A lot of times people use these oils after a wash or maybe once a week. Now, there are lockers who would use these oils for every couple days and they have gone on to have locks, right? Or if you're somebody who is susceptible to having, you know, extremely dry scalp or you experience thinning, then maybe this is an oil that would be good for you because maybe you need that extra sealant or you need that extra care and thickness for your hair. So the first one we'll go into is coconut oil. It's a little bit thicker. Now, depending on what time of year it is, you're always gonna wanna warm it up a little bit. Like if it's winter time, you'll notice that coconut oil does solidify. So if it is winter time or if it's a colder climate, you're definitely gonna wanna warm it up a little bit so that it becomes a little bit more liquid, but you don't wanna warm it up to the point where it's super, super hot, right? But outside of that, coconut oil is good for hair growth, it's good for dandruff, it's good for thinning hair, and it also gives you a silky smooth feel. So that's just something that if that's something you're interested in, give it a try, see how it feels for you. The next one we'll go into is Argan Oil. And the properties of Argan Oil are, it's great for shine, right? It's great for mitigating acne, so that's more so on the skin as well. It's really, really good for mitigating frizz and kind of controlling the frizz of the hair. That being said, frizzing is gonna happen, so don't think Argan Oil is gonna save you from the frizz. And the reason why it's good for mitigating frizz is because it is more of a conditioner. It kind of does help to condition the hair and just kind of helps it to feel silky smooth. And while doing that, it's helping to strengthen the hair. So you'll find that these thicker oils are a lot more, I don't want to say a lot more strengthening, but because they're so thick, right, they're just kind of sitting on the hair for a little bit longer, hence really, really protecting that shaft and helping to strengthen the shaft because things can't get in because that oil is kind of sitting on the hair for a little bit longer than lighter oils. So that's something to consider. And the last one is probably one that a lot of people like yourself have heard of, and that is Jamaican black castor oil or just regular castor oil. So this one right here is the castor oil bottle. My wife actually uses this for other things. I actually haven't used this on my hair yet. I haven't used any thicker oils on my hair or any of the medium oils. I've only used the jojoba oil and the grapeseed oil, and the grapeseed oil is right over here. So black castor oil is obviously great. It's obviously great as a conditioner as well because it does sit on the hair for a little bit longer, helps to keep that hair silky smooth. It helps to seal the tips of the hair, so the tips of your locks will be sealed for a little bit longer. And again, that's just because it is a thicker oil, it is a little bit more viscous, so it's gonna kind of hang around for a little bit longer. It's good for growth. It adds a little bit of shine as well to the hair. And black castor oil can also be used to do hot oil treatments. Now from that, you wanna look at, based on your criteria that you need, if you have dry scalp, if you have thinning hair, maybe you're somebody who sweats a lot, or you already produce a lot of oil, will determine what oil you go with, right? So this is where the research part of it is important and does help you to decide what sealant you're gonna go with, okay? So now that we got sealants out the way, let's talk about the essential oils. So essential oils, obviously very important. As you can see, they're a lot smaller, right? And the reason why they're a lot smaller is because they are a lot more concentrated. So you don't need to use a lot of this in any of your oil concoctions. Now, speaking about the essential oils, I'm only gonna recommend 4, mainly because I've only used these 4. And honestly, when it comes to essential oils, you really just wanna use the oils that deal with or help the situations that you have. So I'll just give you a few examples that I think in the starter locking phase, pretty much every locker can use these and get benefit from them. And I'm saying this from experience. So the first one I'll get into is tea tree oil. So that's this little guy right here. Tea tree oil is really, really good for dealing with inflammation. So this is where if you're somebody who deals with a lot of itching, you're scratching your scalp a lot, you're you know, kind of giving yourself inflammation by scratching so much. The tea tree oil is going to help to mitigate that inflammation. It's also going to help obviously with itching, with dandruff. And the good thing with tea tree oil too is it helps with mold infection and bacteria. So a lot of times that's where the itching is coming from in the scalp, right? When you feel excessive itching in your scalp, it's for 2 reasons. One, it's because there's bacteria on the scalp. It's because there's buildup on the scalp. Or it's just also the fact that your scalp is dealing with this new locking process that it's not used to. So it's kind of a combination of things. If you're just dealing with a little bit of itching here and there, that's pretty normal. But if you're feeling like your hair is like super itchy all the time, or your scalp rather is super itchy, that can be because maybe you're not eating nutritious enough food, which is very important. The body excretes toxins out of the pores, and if you're eating a lot of processed foods or unhealthy foods, you're gonna have a lot more toxins in your body, which means your body's gonna be expelling a lot more toxins. Now, your pores or your glands are on your skin, and your scalp is skin. So a lot of times, if you are eating a lot very unhealthy foods, that's probably one of the reasons why you're feeling a lot of itching in your scalp. So maybe think about the foods that you're eating, make more holistic or natural choices. And also staying hydrated. Make sure you're hydrated so that your skin is lubricated and that your skin's not super dry, because that dryness is also what could lead to your scalp feeling really itchy. So you want to be careful of that as well. The next essential oil I'll go into is lavender, which is this one right over here. Love my lavender. I've actually started using lavender about a month and a half ago in my concoction, and I love it. So lavender is really good for circulation, which I like. So circulation obviously is really good to just, you know, moving things around. Buildup is usually caused when things are stuck in one place and naturally they need to get out. So they come out through the pores. That buildup or those toxins just kind of sit in your scalp, and then it gets itchy. So it's really important to really help circulation. Blood circulation, fluid circulation through the body, super important. And it's a very soothing oil. It's very soothing when you apply it to the hair. It just has a great scent to it, and it just kind of makes your scalp feel really calm, if that makes any sense, like just really settled and relaxed, which I really like. So the combination of that with the tea tree works wonders. The next one I'd recommend also is rosemary oil. I have not yet used rosemary oil, but I do know, and I will be getting some really soon because I do want to try it out. A few properties with the rosemary oil simply are it guards against infection, and it helps to strengthen your hair. So, you know, it helping to guard against infection coming in is huge, especially if you have other oils that are helping to remove infection or eliminate bacteria. Now you have rosemary oil helping to eliminate any infections that could be coming into the scalp. So that's huge, right? Kind of think about it as your little soldiers, kind of helping to just protect your scalp as you go about your day. And the last one I'll go into is peppermint, which is this one right here. Now peppermint I find is really soothing, similar to lavender, and it's great for itching. Like it really helps to soothe the scalp, as I mentioned, and just help you to not feel as itchy. And the best thing honestly with these essential oils, they smell great, right? Like you can imagine what peppermint smells like. It smells great, very soothing scent. Lavender, a very great scent as well. A lot of people don't really like the smell of tea tree. I do, but you don't want to put too much of it, because obviously if it's too strong of a smell, that's just not pleasant to those around you. But I love that because they do have great scents to them. Typically the sealants don't really have much of a scent, but these essential oils just really help to give a good scent to the hair as well, which I like. Yeah, so that's pretty much, you know, a little overview of all the different oils you can use. Now we're gonna be talking briefly about the combination of the two and how to mix those, okay? So now that we've selected what oils we want to use, so let's say you're gonna decide to go in with your tea tree, your peppermint, and your lavender as your essential oils, and you're gonna seal all those in with your sealant. how you would go about making a concoction. The first thing you want to do is get a glass bottle, right? Just like this. And it has a dropper top. You can get these at any local health beauty store probably, or you can go online and find them. They're pretty easy to find. So now you want to know how much to mix, right? The first thing I do is I'll go in with my essential oils. I personally, I'll do 10 drops of each. Honestly, depending on what scent you like more, because once you have a few drops in there, you're already gonna reap the benefits of this oil. So it really just comes down to what smells you prefer. What I'll usually do with the tea tree, because it is a stronger scent, I'll put 5 drops in here, so just 5 drops. And then the peppermint and the lavender are scents that I really like, and I kind of want them to stand out a bit more. So I'll put 10 drops, sometimes I'll put 15, I'm not gonna lie. And then so that will fill it up to about here. And then I'll go in with my sealant oil and pour that in, and then just fill it up to about halfway. Now the reason why I never fill it up to the top is because over time, it's gonna last you a while, right? And you want it to be fresh out of the bottle as much as possible. So if I have it filled to the top, I might still have this exact same mixture for a month or two. And for me personally, I don't really want it to just to be sitting out for that long, right? In the bottles that these oils do come in, because these are coming from good, healthy brands as well, you want to also look at healthy brands that are making the best versions of these oils. These containers that they come in are actually designed to preserve the nutritional properties of these oils, right? Hence why they come in darker bottles like this. And typically I'll store them in darker areas because sunlight in some cases can actually help to strip it of its properties. So personally, I'll just fill it up to about here. So then I'll finish that oil within, let's say, a month, and then I can kind of replenish it as I go along. But then once I fill it up, I'll just do a little stir. And then when I'm applying it to my hair, I'll go in with my dropper bottle, right? And then just drop it through my parted sections, all through my parted sections. And you don't need to do a lot. I'll do like 3 drops per row, and I'll just go in and seal it in. And remember, very important, you gotta do this after you do your moisturization, which is using your rose water to spray your hair, or using a bottle with just water in it and spraying your hair a few times, and then you go in with your oils, okay? So that's pretty much it. I know it was a lot of information. I hope you got your notepad out and got your pen out and wrote some of this stuff down. If you didn't, feel free to watch it again. But I do hope that video was helpful for you. If you are somebody who does have knowledge and background in this information, please help the community out. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Or if you have any other suggestions that you can give to the community, share it with us down below. If you thought this was helpful as well, please subscribe. Share this video with someone who might be going through the process and find this helpful, and hit that like button. It helps with the channel. Make sure you keep on top of your moisturization routine and your oiling routine. It is very important, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, peace and love, y'all. Kojo Locs signing out.